And welcome back here to Dubbo for the Junior State Cup Northern Conference, the 18 girls division. Ryde Eastwood in the red and black, taking on Newcastle. And two very red-hot sides in a very competitive division. We've been struggling to split the sides that have been in this one pretty much all day. James Preston and Jason Stanton with you for commentary.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, James, because we're sort of getting towards later in the day now where it isn't the first game for a lot of these teams. So they've sort of settled themselves into the tournament. They've got a bit of a feel. They start to see what plays work and don't work and how they combine as a defensive unit. And we see big jumps or lumps in standard. Big jumps between the games. So, yeah, interested to see how this one pans out.
Here comes 007 herself, Lauren Bond. And unfortunately, they've dropped that one early here, Newcastle. So midway through their first set, it'll leave the Ryde Eastwood Hawks with not much defensive work to do as they can go directly on the attack themselves and pick up plenty of meterage as well.
That's Riley
How
Michelle.
about this from the pace? Michelle's away. Oh,
wow.
Riley Michelle. Forget Michelle's patisserie. That's delicious.
Wow. I think I blinked and missed it. Riley Michelle, I think it was just going to be a one-up. They showed her a bit of space and she said, hey, you give me that space, I'm going to take it. And that was I think it was a 40-metre sprint down that touch line. Very unexpected, and Riley Michelle has put them on notice. If you give me space, it's going to be a try. 1-0 to Ryde Eastwood Hawks.
Well, she's a quick customer. I'll tell you what, my knees are crying just seeing how fast she is. And straight away, Newcastle have left it behind again, so yet to complete a set. They've only had about 3 touches in total between the two trot balls, and it is providing lots of opportunities here for the Ryde Eastwood side as they go on the attack once more. Sheeran comes to that 7-metre mark, dumps it off, now Kelleher, and back here to Musri. Musri slows it down on that 7-metre mark. Musri at the line, good defence. Was she back in time? No! So referee's on the spot. Despite the touch being made, the feet weren't back behind the line. It means back-to-back tries here for the Ryde Eastwood side.
It's a great try there. Newcastle can be forgiven for, like, you know, not having their guard up. Like, the game's barely started and it's try. I was still getting comfy in my seat. I hadn't got set up yet when Riley Michelle went down that sideline. And now the Hawks have come back and grabbed another one in quick succession. Newcastle got to try and sell into this game so it doesn't blow out. But certainly out of the blocks hard, the Hawks.
Well, it might be a little bit shell-shocked to begin with. We've had less than 2 minutes of play. So they are currently beating the scoreboard. But now they've got a good chance to launch a raid of their own here. Good field position at last for Newcastle and a bit of time with the ball. This is Ahoy. And she drops it back on the inside. Picking it up once more from acting half. Ahoy at full tilt. Oh, gave a great ball. It was a tough one to try and finish off, but Bond nearly did it. Just spilling it at the death. So Ryde Eastwood survive and they maintain that 2-try margin.
Yeah, really liked what I saw there from Ahoy. So pretty much when you sweep to one side of the field like we saw there, they were sweeping to the top of the screen and then Ahoy's dummied and gone back the other way. Often we'll say that like going against the grain or against the flow, and sometimes it catches the defence out because they all run to where the sweeper's going. So I thought that was very innovative by the Knights.
Good run here from Kelly, nearly getting away from them. A lovely touch at the end though from that woman that we're just talking about. Ahoy making it just around the ankle there, so it was an important one that had to be made. There was plenty of pace once more from the Ryde Eastwood side. They head towards the sideline here, the commentary side of the field. Bond hopping in at acting half. Ahoy once more. Young up towards halfway. Bond. And now out to Slavos. Here they come again. Slavos through the middle. They're away. Play on is the call. They dropped it back over the top, but they've just got the touch in time. I thought she could have taken off herself there, Jason.
Yeah, she might have had him. I think maybe a little bit tentative. I think that she got a bit more space than what she thought she had. And Newcastle starting to settle into this one. If they can get a try, I think they can, you know, gain confidence from that and get into the game because they've certainly got the ability. They just got a bit shell-shocked from the early dominance from Ryde Eastwood.
Well, a lot of that came from the run from Riley Michelle, who had the previous little run there, and it nearly opened up something on this occasion for Poley. But they've managed to catch her just in time. That's much better scramble here from Newcastle. They'll get the changeover on the 7 metre mark.
Yeah, I might. I noticed a good run there again from Riley Michelle, who you just mentioned, and she had a bit of a limp there, so I might keep an eye on her to see how she's tracking. She's limping a little bit of discomfort there in defence. Here she is coming up now, so I might keep an eye because she's obviously going to be important if the Hawks are going to be successful, not just in this game, but over the course of the tournament.
So Seidel playing it as she was knocked to ground. No forceful contact rule. That might even be a touch pass. Either way, it's been left behind here from Bond. So changeover in favour of Ryde Eastwood, who still have that little margin. 2 tries to nil with about 5 minutes gone. Riley Michelle now fires it wider still to McQuaid. McQuaid, nice little drop off. Riley Michelle again threatening to go down that sideline. To the centre they come. Musri promotes the footy on. Musri wrapping around again. Here they are at motion. Ladalevu. It's been left behind though. I'm quite sure we do have a Ladalevu playing reasonably high level rugby league as well. That might be a relative of Eleni.
Yeah, there's lots of connections, I think, throughout the, whether it be rugby league, touch football. There's lots of links there as turnover to Ryde, and they'd be looking for. I think if Ryde Eastwood would have scored next, that it's going to be difficult to come back. Newcastle got to try and stick with him here, James.
So here is Ryde Eastwood on the attack. The assignment, a pretty clear one for Newcastle. Don't concede. They pop it back towards the middle. Brianna Kelly in at acting half. Picks it up and has a scoot herself. Kelly finding a little supporting player through that link position, but well jammed in off the wing from Newcastle. Back to that 7 metre mark they come. Short pass here to Besgrove. And now Kelly. Besgrove picks it up once more. Last play. Out they come to Kelleher. Kelleher having a crack herself. But the touches come in there at the death from Priestley. Good defence from Newcastle. They certainly asked a few questions in that set.
Yeah, Newcastle's strong D, and it was. I thought it was quite innovative play there from Ryde, the way they sort of took it into the line, and asked some questions. I think it was Kelly there, really sort of running hard straight at the line and forcing the Newcastle defence to decide if they were going to come up and shut down on it or stay out. So good work.
Slavos, and now with Simpson. Simpson getting through them. Simpson is still alive. Links up with a wide ball. I think they might have just done enough there, the Ryde Eastwood side. That's great tracking defence.
Yeah, good defence by Ryde. Probably a bit unlucky for Newcastle that they didn't maybe come back for a penalty or sort of get the call, because it was really good attack there, and just a bit unfortunate for them. But if they keep that style of dump, scoop, rolling down the field, that looks to be where they look the strongest, the Newcastle City team.
There is Michelle. She's ruled back here. And this is going to be a changeover, I fancy, in favour of Newcastle. No, in fact, it will go the way of the Ryde Eastwood side. I'm not quite sure what they've called that one for.
It might have been the changes, James. I think the referee to the bottom of your screen, I think, picked up that they might have had 7 on, or they might not have had a smooth change. So when that occurs, it's sort of like an immediate sort of penalty. There's no you don't generally get an advantage when there's like 7 on. The referees normally just pull it straight up.
Nice little wrap around there from Ladalevu, trying to unleash once more Riley Michelle. She'll play it back on that 7 metre mark. As Michelle comes away here for Poley. Touch made from Simpson. Ladalevu splits them. Beautiful play. Eleni Ladalevu held it out in 2 hands, kept the defence guessing, and squeezed through a gap.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort of get my head around what's going on with Riley Michelle here, because it was a great run, then it went into a limp, then it was an outstanding long ball to set up the try, and then into a limp off the field. So she's obviously carried an injury, but she's got the ability to maybe block it out for a few seconds to cause some grief for Newcastle.
Could be a little bit of gamesmanship coming into play even from Riley Michelle.
You think it's a fake limp, James?
It could be. Don't quote me on it, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm putting a few options up in the air as the changeover comes, and now Ryde Eastwood through Musri. Drives it forward. Good follow-up run here from Kelleher. Really good meters. Nice and direct play here. Isabel Sheeran taking that previous run. And now Donkin. Oh, and just in between the run there of Donkin and also Musri, Donkin had to have a little snatch at it. So Newcastle with a chance to work it away from their own end now. They head up towards halfway. A good run coming in there from Matilda Seidel. Up over halfway. Nice straight drives in the midway part of this set. Slavos. Last play. Still with numbers in motion. That one's just unfortunately gone out in front of the link position. A little bit of miscommunication on that particular play.
Yeah, it was a little bit disjointed, but it was good to see Newcastle moving the ball around, and that's one of the things that we're seeing throughout this tournament with these young girls is that they have the ability, like they're fast, they've got the run and the dump, but also they've got the nice long, wide lateral passes, which we traditionally haven't seen in junior touch, and definitely over the last few years we've seen more and more of it, and definitely Newcastle have that ability.
Lucy Clark got very close there, but they marked up well. Good scramble defence from the likes of Forbes, Abercrombie. Made the touch. Here she is now with a run herself. And coming in, a little bobble there. Was it picked up from the referees? No. Play on for Broomhead. Or should I say after the touch of Broomhead there as Newcastle keep driving forward. Eve Bailey in the 72 is out there now as well for her first taste of the footy.
Yeah, this is better for the Knights. They need another dump here. Another dump and they might get him. Well, they've got the penalty either way.
Well, even better result for them. They'll get a full set to play with here. Ahoy back out there as well. She's one to watch. Here she is now with the ball. Little dummy. Very delayed pass there. Play on is the call. Ava Simpson slowing things down as Lauren Bond heads back out there into the wing position. Penalty once more for Newcastle, with the players not stepping up to that 7 metre mark. We'll see if there's another one here. We could actually see someone sat down.
Yeah, good call from the referee there because they definitely weren't moving up.
So Ahoy gets pretty close to the line, but is pushed back to that 7 metre mark following the touch. Good patience about their play here. Newcastle not panicking about the scoreline just yet. Long dive here from Simpson. Simpson just hasn't quite evaded the touch. It was a very close run thing.
Yeah, Kelly showed really good poise there under pressure to sort of foot it with her, then make the dive. Well done, Kelly.
Simpson drops it off. Now Ahoy, and at pace they come once more here. Nice little run. They just couldn't quite evade the defensive line again.
Yeah, so close. A dive probably scores there. A bit unfortunate for the Knights. Very close on that occasion.
Yeah, Gemma Young it was. Turned back on the inside. Nice angle change. They had the cover defence there anyway, I feel, through Brianna Kelly, but just asking a few more questions in that set.
Yeah, it's interesting when you sort of unpack the game a little bit, because often we talk about the on-line moves, like those lateral plays or the trick plays on the line, but often you're more effective on the way in, on the back of your drive or the flow, and Newcastle looks to be that sort of team where they want to sort of run into the line with that flowing touch, a bit like what we're seeing here from Ryde. Some teams this suits
here
better.
They go now down the sideline. Sorry to cut you off there, Jason, but it's all happening here in the corner. They've managed to stop that play on this occasion. Riley Michelle still floating around the middle. Poley with the ball now as Ahoy makes the touch. Last play. Poley comes to the line. Poley, good ball. Oh, great hands. Had to turn and twist to reel it in. But once more, good scramble from Newcastle. They survive.
Yeah, very good play. Then again, looking dangerous whenever Riley Michelle's around the ball. I wonder if she didn't have the limp, what would we be seeing here today?
She's already shown a clean pair of heels for the first try of the match. It was an absolute cracker. As Newcastle head back to the middle, here's a good ball for Ahoy, who picks up another 10 or so metres. Further forward, they charge with Nikas. Now onto the field is Seidel, taking a little run. She'll slow it just momentarily, assessing her options. They are all continuing to move up, though, so no penalty forthcoming. So they go on the run. Long floating pass, beautifully read out there from the wide position for Ryde Eastwood. They are very tough to get around at the moment with about 13 and a half gone.
Yeah, and this sort of, just to circle back to that point, James, this is where if when you're watching the game, you can see Ryde Eastwood seem to be quite comfortable on their line, but when Newcastle's are running at them, when Newcastle's coming down maybe 20 out, 15 out, that's when they're most in trouble. So Newcastle almost want to get them up outside the 7 if you can, like walk right back, get the Ryde Eastwood girls off the line, and then run in. I think that's when that'll create their best chance for a try.
So ball in hand here for Isabel Doherty. Doherty flings it off, and now it worked her way through Seidel. Dummy on the outside, then finding support back to the middle in the form of Doherty. Seidel slows it again.
Yeah, they've almost got to wait out here at the 10 and really get the Ryde girls up outside the 7 as they've got there. Now they're a good chance here.
And they'll get the penalty instead. Again, you can just see the referee suggesting they're not coming up as they are required to. They must hit that 7-metre mark. If they stop short of it, that's when the penalty is enacted. As the touch is taken here from Doherty. Yes. Seidel with it once more.
Yeah, the Newcastle got to really get them outside that 7. So you want to get out of that little bit of a waltz, all that stuff that's happening around the 7 when the referee's saying not moving forward. Get back to the 10 as they are here. Get them right up and then run into it. This looks a bit better.
Nice little strike dump. Seidel is still an option there. They'll go for the long floating cutout ball, but it arrives straight into the arms of Bailey Broomhead, who sweeps that one up, excuse the pun, as they move it from right to left. Bit of room to move here with Ladalevu, who's caught with a good touch there from Howarth. Once more Howarth coming up to put on the pressure and make the touch. Working hard in defence. Up towards halfway. Come the Ryde Eastwood side, and now over it, only just. Kelly goes for a straight run. Good pick up, and forward they march through Kelleher, who then tried to opt for the alley-oop over the top and just falling short of the mark, but that's good intent from Kelleher.
I think so. That was a nice change of pace there from Kelleher, which was again that's another weapon or another thing that Newcastle City have to contend with.
Quick hands here for Newcastle, picks up another 10 or so metres. The touch is eventually made from Broomhead. As onto the field come some reinforcements, including Kalani, Forbes, Abercrombie, who took that most recent run. Back to the middle they go. Priestley dropped down and then picked up very cleanly from Slavos, who tried to put on the afterburners. She's caught by her opposite number though. Besgrove makes the touch. 3-0 it remains. So time is beginning to become a factor here, Jason. How much does that scoreboard begin to weigh on their minds?
Yeah, it would, because, and this is where, when we're talking earlier about Ryde getting out of the blocks with a couple early ones, was so significant, because since then they've been fairly evenly matched. And then now as we get to the back half of the game, now the scoreboard becomes an issue where, we need 3 tries.
Good ball here from Riley Michelle, and then really putting on the afterburners was Lauren McQuaid. And she's gone all the way, no touch on her. A great piece of play here from Ryde Eastwood secures their 4th try of the match.
Yeah, and a little bit of scoreboard pressure then. I think Newcastle looking over their shoulder a little bit, seeing that it was such a mountain to climb to try and get back in this game, and they almost lost a little bit of concentration. And Ryde Eastwood, I think that's their MO, isn't it? We're in the game, and if you drop your guard, we're going to take it for a try. They've got speed across the park.
Plenty of pace. McQuaid displaying a lot of it just then. Unfortunately, another early error in the set. So each and every time they've been down the opposition end, they've come up with an error reasonably quickly into the set. So they just haven't been able to build pressure at any point so far, the Newcastle side. As Ryde Eastwood head up towards halfway. Big collision there with McCarthy.
Yeah, Ryde probably putting a bit of pressure on Newcastle too, I think, which makes it a bit hard. They've found it hard to get into their rhythm at times, and they've had a few turnovers, but probably due to the Ryde Eastwood pressure.
So Ladalevu sweeping around. They won't get a chance to put on that special play there. Changeover for Newcastle. They needed that. There's only about 7 minutes remaining. They need a try, and they need it quickly. Reinforcements arriving as Young gets up over halfway. Bailey hopping in and acting half-full. Good hands there from Nikas. It was behind her. Seidel is out there again. She's got ball in hand now. Drops it off for Doherty. Doherty dumps it down. Seidel once more. Classy customer, Seidel. She has real fluidness about her movements. That one just not quite played on the mark. Has to be directly on the 7. Last play now. That will hamper things a little bit here for Newcastle. The hop and the skip nearly got away from Musri, but the touch is made. It is the last. It is from acting half. No matter what way you look at it, it's a changeover.
Yeah, Seidel looked particularly strong. I think on the back of a good drive, or a better platform, which I'm sure Newcastle can provide in this game or future games. I think Seidel's going to be very difficult to handle on the back of a drive.
Seidel still out there alongside Doherty. And this now is Nikas. Nikas drops it about 10 away. And another penalty here for Newcastle. They've had plenty of them, but no result off the back of them as of yet. Doherty. Here is Seidel. She's one of the talisman for this Newcastle side. Doherty, great ball over the top. They keep promoting the footy. Lovely recycling. Nikas dove for the line, but they just got her in time. Yeah. Good scramble from Ryde Eastwood.
Yeah, Broomhead with a great scramble and recovery. She might have injured her hand here, but she's sticking with it, and that was a great save.
Seidel, quick play the ball. Doherty is there. Ladalevu steps up and makes the touch. So a lot of their big guns are on deck at the moment for the Ryde Eastwood side. Musri's out there. Ladalevu. Broomhead, as you mentioned, has been really strong defensively on the wing. Nikas wanted to try and work something through the middle. It might still work for her. Oh, goodness me. The final pass. Well, she had to wait till she got in front of her to begin with.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a mess to conclude.
I think it was a little bit rushed, but this is where, full credit to Ryde Eastwood. That sequence that you just called there in that bottom corner, James, I think that's a try against almost every team that's here in Dubbo, but somehow Broomhead, took both attackers on her own right on her scoreline and saved it. And I think that's probably why Newcastle, I think they probably have 2 or 3 tries if they're playing most teams up here, but Ryde Eastwood really on their game.
Well, I'm officially calling Broomhead the sweeper, not just because of the name, but also because of how much clean-up work she does. So back to the middle they come now through Forbes Abercrombie. Newcastle have had the better of the field position in the last 5 minutes. They're still searching for that first try to get them back into things, though. Priestley plays it now, flips it up here for another run. They'll dive nice and quick. I think the touch has been made, though, from Besgrove. Yes, it has. So back to the 7 they go. Still a few plays up their sleeves.
Yeah, a bit of a tip here. When you're attacking and the D's not really coming up, as what's happened here, we'll just wait to see this unfolds.
Slavos pops the pass. Oh, it was actually on there for Forbes Abercrombie. I think she thought that there was an intercept in the making. She pulled her hands away from it. They'll still get another crack here, though, Newcastle.
Yeah, they'll get 6 again. Yeah, so what you want to do, the tip is you really want to stand further than the 7 and force them to come up.
Slavos, nice ball. Now, first touch was definitely off Newcastle. So fancy that'll be a changeover regardless. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so what Newcastle's doing is they're sort of standing on the 7, trying to do their dump on the 7, and then Ryde Eastwood's, not sort of coming up, and the ref's giving them warnings, and you get into a bit of a dance. And the way you break that as a bit of a tip as the attack is you walk back to the 10, and you stand still and say to the ref, hey, they've got to come up. Then you run into the 7. And that's probably what Newcastle might want to try in some of the subsequent games to get some benefit, because they are causing issues for Ryde Eastwood, but Ryde are quite doing a good job at anticipating the touch and rolling out of the 7. So you really got to try and break that up if you can, if you're on the Newcastle side.
Broomhead makes the touch with only about 2 minutes remaining here at Dubbo in this 18 girls division. Ryde Eastwood 4-0 over Newcastle City. Ahoy is back out there. A little bobble in the play the ball. Play on is the call, though. Ahoy once more comes forward. Michelle making the touch. They drop it off. Last play now here for Newcastle. Simpson at pace, trying to exploit a little bit of a gap between middle and length, but we're just seeing once again how quick Riley Michelle is. There was an opening there, but it was closed so rapidly.
Yeah, look, when you talk about fast players or athletes, there are different types of speed. You can be straight in fast in a straight line, or fast laterally, or quick, but you sort of got game speed where it's just worth so much more. And Riley Michelle appears to have that game speed where when she's around the ball, something's going to happen. In defence, you can pick up the attacker so quickly, and that's a really good skill to have. Definitely one to watch, Riley Michelle. I did cop some criticism for not giving out any man of the matches, because last week I sort of invented the Guzmani Gomez man of the match, or not man of the match, player of the match, and I haven't really given that out today. So maybe who are you thinking for the GYG player of the match? Let's get it back on track, James Preston.
That's absolutely for the colour commentator. I am completely biased and neutral in this process. Don't you dare try and dump it off on me, Jason Stanton. You've got a minute to think about it. But here come Newcastle up over halfway. But certainly Riley Michelle has been a very strong performer. So they go on the attack here once more. Newcastle popping the pass over the top. It was building nicely for them. It was a very difficult pass to try and reel in, though.
Was that the sweeper again, saving yet another try? I thought you were going to go with Broomhead, because she, like, if you save a try, it's the same as scoring one. And she saved 2 or 3 out there. So if she'd scored 3 tries, we'd be talking her up. Well, she saved 3. That's the same thing. So Broomhead, you know, if you're on the Newcastle side, you almost want to attack the opposite side of the field, because she's saving everything, Broomhead.
There's a real winding run from Aloysioso. And that will be full time here. So last play for Ryde Eastwood. They fling it out wide, back towards the middle. It's certainly gone forward. They'll say play on, though, so it could still be on here for the Ryde Eastwood side. It is Broomhead. Oh, Broomhead with the front flip. We've called her the sweeper. Well, she's taken the sweepstakes of tries with that one. And I think in the process, she might have wrapped up the Guzman and Gomez woman of the match.
Well, an absolute superb one in the corner. I was going to say Riley Michelle. Can they chop the gift card in half and get a burrito each? What do you reckon?
I think we can split a burrito. Why not? Sounds delicious.
Well, they're very healthy. Guzmani Gomez, I must say, I don't mind a burrito or 2. So maybe we have our first split player of the match. Riley Michelle and our outstanding Bailey Broomhead are going to split the burrito here on the stadium field. What a game.
Been a terrific game, but at full time, 5-0, Ryde Eastwood running out victors over Newcastle City. All the action of our next match in 5 minutes' time at 3:30.